Battlefield 6 Season 1 Phase 2 kicked off today with update 1.1.2.0, which, wow, that's a lot of numbers in one sentence. But anyways, we got new content, new gameplay changes, and patch notes to run down in this one. So a lot to go over, a lot of things to discuss. Drop your thoughts as we go along. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things Battlefield 6, ARC Raiders, and even more FPS content here on the channel. Would love to have in the communities we chase down 700,000 subscribers. And finally, check out my friends over at Advanced GG, where code Espresso can get you 10% off your entire order if you're trying to restock and fuel up for the holiday gaming sessions upcoming, for holiday gifts, whatever the case. Code Espresso can get you 10% off. But let's talk a little bit about what you can expect with this update. Battlefield 6's California Resistance update is now live, which brought along with it a new map, Sabotage as a new mode, the DB12 and M357 trait weapons, the slim hand stop attachment, battle pickups, and a little more. So how do you get all this stuff? How can you access this content in particular? Well, Eastwood as a new map is currently available as an all-out Warfare 24/7 style playlist that you can just jump in and play that map in particular, among it being added into the rotation elsewhere. Sabotage is also in its own playlist to try out, while the other stuff, the M357 traits, is a new assignment challenge, as is the slim hand stop, but the DB12 is part of the new limited time event battle pass track here. This one is interesting and something that will take probably a little bit of time to get to if you don't just skip the tiers by paying for them, which I personally never do. So if you're like me, it'll take a little bit of grinding, but this path includes 11 tiers of items, the DB12 being that final one, requiring upwards of 110 path points to unlock all items. And it's a dual pass of free and premium tiers. So if you want all 11 items, you are going to have had to purchase that premium battle pass with Season 1 to do so. This path can be completed concurrently with the Season 1 battle pass, but it's kind of a one-way thing here. See, the tiers are progressed through bonus path points, which are separate from the progress made on the Season 1 pass, where these bonus path points are earned via weekly challenges for rewards or California Resistant event challenges. So kind of funneling you into playing that new content to unlock the other new content. If you do this, you'll earn progress to the Season 1 Battle Pass as well, but if you end up just playing your standard modes unassociated with any of those challenges or the California Resistance content, you're only making progress towards that Season 1 Standard Battle Pass, not towards the bonus path content as well. So a little bit of a hoop to jump through there with that if you want to unlock the newer stuff, but that's a limited time reward. It has not been specified just yet what happens to the functional content after that limited time pass is completed in about 3 weeks' time here with the launch of the Winter Offensive update on the 9th, but presumably for that functional stuff, the cosmetics I would imagine are actually limited time, but the functional stuff I imagine would end up going into other further assignment challenges so you can unlock those organically. They're not just going to withhold a brand new weapon from all players that it's a if you miss it, it's gone forever type of thing, especially whenever it's part of a 3-week limited time event. So that is something that, while we don't have that confirmed, you'll end up seeing that likely being the case in the future. Gauntlet and Portal also offered a bit more as well, which rounds out a not bad content offering in terms of quantity for just like a limited time event in season update. But there's also some impactful changes that were made to the core experience of the game that you should know about or may have even noticed already. One of the biggest focal points of this update dealt with aim assist. This one even prompted an actual explanation in the patch notes, not just a, hey, we fixed this, this, and this, these values are adjusted. This actually got an explanation and detailing from DICE a little further, stating, as we got closer to launch, we revisited aim assist tuning based on internal testing and the full range of maps and combat distances coming with release. Our goal was to make aim assist feel more effective beyond mid-range fights, which was one of our focuses within Battlefield Labs and open beta. At launch, we increased slowdown at longer ranges, but once the game went live, we saw that this made high zoom aim feeling less smooth and harder to control. After receiving player feedback and gameplay data, we're reverting aim assist back to the values some of you experienced during open beta and Battlefield Labs. This will now serve as the default while still providing you with the ability to alter the aim assist to your preference and playstyle via settings. This change keeps aim slowdown consistent across all ranges, helping with muscle memory and providing a steadier, more reliable feel as we move into the future seasons. So this, in theory, should make your aim assist feel a lot better, especially again at those distances here. Playing on mouse and keys, having to jump over and test this out on controller, haven't completely finished all of my testing just yet to give an adequate verdict on how this feels overall as the time of recording this, but on paper, this should be something that if you liked it in the beta, this will be very familiar to you and be something that feels right at home for you. So nice to see that they are reverting it, especially based off of that feedback here that was given about this from community sentiment. But I think overall reactions here to this probably the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll have a solid understanding of whether or not this is a change that people really enjoy or not. Another additional one is some input tuning here at this, because they fixed an issue where stick dead zones would ignore the first 10% movement if using a PlayStation 5 controller on PC. So kind of a niche use case here with this, where again, it has to be on PC, has to be a PS5 controller, but this was definitely something that I had noticed when I was doing controller testing on PC, that it was one of those things that you'd notice that if you were trying to, say, hold your aim stick at a 45-degree angle and go up at a diagonal like that in your aim, on the first few, let's just say, input values of when you start pushing on that right thumbstick, you would still just move horizontally, or in some cases vertically, where it would only account at a 90-degree input there. But obviously that's problematic if you are trying to go horizontally at a 45-degree angle. And this is one of those things that if you're playing at a relatively higher sensitivity, not even like needing to be super high, but on those micro adjustments like that, you'd end up skipping out on your aim by quite a bit. So it was something that definitely affected the aiming inputs here for players on controller. Again, PS5 controllers on PC. So nice to see that that was fixed out. Other things that were fixed, there were quite a few issues with dead zones elsewhere, where they fixed player movement of the left stick, not registering beyond a 30% of travel past the dead zone, among a few other things, which is definitely nice to see those inputs corrected. Weapon dispersion and bloom fixes were made, where again, they made a small tuning pass that reduces how quickly dispersion and recoil buildup during sustained fire occurs. Dispersion adjustments apply to all weapons, while most also receive recoil tuning. These changes make weapons feel smoother and more consistent, especially at longer ranges, where we've seen players engage more often. Now again, that's on paper. On that theoretical perfect scenario, it is a tighter experience. However, in practice, it may not be the case. And I've already seen quite a few tweets, clips, Reddit threads, whatever the case, where it's just absolute zero registry in some cases, where even in close proximity, there's just not shots landing. So if you're feeling like something is off with this update, it is quite possible that there is. That again, that in a perfect world on paper explanation, it wasn't exactly applied one-to-one to the real world. Additional tuning came down to some weight of long-range performance in balance and automatic weapons, benefiting the PW7A2 and the KV9 in particular, with minor adjustments elsewhere. They've reduced recoil and variation on the LMR27, M39, and SVDM for improved long-range reliability, and a bunch of other minor things in relation to specific attachments and stuff like that. Lighting adjustments and visibility upgrades were made, where they said we've made further improvements to soldier visibility, particularly when transitioning between interiors and exteriors. These updates enhance exposure balance to make enemies easier to see in varying lighting conditions. We'll continue refining visibility and related visual effects based on player feedback. Now, perhaps it is just because I have not been playing a lot the last 2 weeks, with 2 game launches to cover on top of trying to keep up with Battlefield 6 as well. A lot of stuff going on this channel here, but perhaps it's gone over my head that I missed this one. But playing today with this update, there is now the noticeable transition from interior to exterior visibility in a change that has been made for, in my opinion, the better. This noticeable when you ADS from the inside to look out. You'll notice that your immediate peripherals inside are darkened to make way for your focus shift to outside and that lighting. While it may be something that's a bit odd to get used to or cuts off some of that visibility inside, I do think that it's a fairer way to manually adjust almost to that point. So allowing you to dictate that control from lighting for different exterior and interior values. Additional changes of note, there were some settings that now allow for an option for players to sprint automatically when pushing the stick fully forward, kind of like an auto sprint setting. They added a new key binding that allows players to instantly swap to the knife instead of having to hold the button to end up swapping to it. Just a little quicker input swap speed there. However, that binding does not allow you to perform takedowns contextually and still will need to be performed once the melee is equipped. Escalation capture times are roughly 20% longer now, extending that capture phase a bit more. Challenge rewards not rewarding players saw fixed deployed, and player kill and death stats no longer track portal and bot instances, only showing human interactions instead. Portal stats will be shown in a different capacity at a further time that is mentioned, so we will see stats for those coming in the future, but just right now it's kind of mitigated and taken off the board to allow for disclosure of a lot more real player interactions. So overall, initial impressions after a little bit of playtime, it felt like a nice update for the most part content-wise. I don't have enough time on hand just yet to know explicitly if it's like a net win or net loss in terms of additional bugs that may have popped up or what, but the initial gameplay experience was nice and fun to jump back into. Again, juggling multiple games here on the channel has been an interesting one the last month or so, but hopping back into Battlefield for the morning was definitely fun, and I'll be playing a bit more, trying to progress through the paths here to get that DB12 and other content while still having the availability, but still trying to juggle even more content. I am very curious to see what the plans are and the timeline is for Season 2, because we do know that December 9th and that Winter Offensive update is going to be something that's a smaller scale update by comparison to the launch, and then this update as well, kind of tiding us over into Season 2. And I'd also be very curious to see what the update for Season 2 brings along and when. Like, is this going to be something that's right after the new year? Is it going to be something that is before the New Year's? Because if we are going on a 3-week baseline, that would bring us to December 30th. So, like, technically speaking, it could happen. Am I expecting it? No. But still, we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, want to fill you guys in on the newest for Battlefield 6 and what all changed here with this. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like what you're seeing so far, not so much. But if you enjoyed the video, you'll find it at all insightful. Drop a like on it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so it's a single thing to all things Battlefield 6 and other FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community. For now, though, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.